we're going to a different economy, and we're going to be learning more about that as we go. But clearly, we're learning that things can be done from remote locations. We're learning that technology can replace people even more than we thought.
We're not going back to the same economy. We're recovering, but to a different economy, and it'll be one that is more leveraged to technology. And I worry that that is going to make it even more difficult than it was for many workers.
In Silicon Valley, and my friends who work in technology know that what we did to the manufacturing workers, we are now going to do to the retail workers, the call center workers, the fast food workers, the truck drivers, and then even bookkeepers, accountants, insurance agents, lawyers, and on through the economy. So what happened to the manufacturing workers is a very clear sign.
This effort, and China has big plans for this. They intend to seed their digital yuan into the global environment by giving it away to visitors at next winter's Olympics. When they arrive at the airport, they're going to get yuan digital wallets. They're going to receive digital yuan. They're going to use it throughout their visits to Beijing, and then they're going to take it back to their home countries. They see this as a huge advantage. Why? Because who controls the underlying protocols, who controls the underlying standards of the future of money will control the future of money.
We must end America's addiction to poverty, an addiction that costs us tens of billions of dollars a year in lost productivity, criminal justice costs, and unequal health outcomes. This pandemic has shined a light on the consequences of being poor in America, but also pointed to what happens when the federal government provides cash assistance to poor Americans. At the beginning of this pandemic, child poverty dropped 20% nationally, and the American Rescue Plan could cut it in half. The reason for this, it isn't complicated. It's something that I and other local leaders have been shouting to the rafters. When you give money to people who are poor, it creates better outcomes. It covers childcare. It puts food on the table. It leads to more high school graduations and better checkups. During the pandemic, I came together with 11 other mayors to found Mayors for a Guaranteed Income. Today, we're 43 mayors strong, and we've seen already the evidence of its success in cities like Stockton. When LA gets involved with a transformational issue, we don't just follow, we lead. So today I'm proud to announce that this year, Los Angeles will launch the largest guaranteed basic income pilot of any city in America. We have budgeted $24 million to provide $1,000 a month to 2,000 households for an entire year, no questions asked, wherever poverty lives in our city. And thanks to the leadership of Councilmember Curran Price, who's been joined by Councilmember Marquise Harris Dawson and others, these funds will grow to more than $30 million in direct help to begin to tear away at poverty in our city and to show this nation a way to fulfill Dr. King's call for a basic income once and for all. We're betting that one small but steady investment for Angelino households will pay large dividends for health and stability across our city, and more importantly, light a fire across our nation. Strengthening our youth, our families, and our communities, it's not an additional option or some sort of elective class. It's central to the creation of a just and resilient city of the future. It's part of creating a city that is safer, freer from fear.
Welcome to the Crypto Teacher. And guys, I come back with that video just to make you think. And we know teamwork makes the dream work. I talk about universal basic income all the time. But in my Patreon, I have a member that sent me the article of the mayor of Los Angeles introducing universal basic income. $1,000 a month, guys. And he says how important it is to get money out to the people. Now, guys, if we had a regular economy like we had in 2019, I would be all for free money. If I didn't know the agenda of cryptocurrency, we know this country got built off of free labor, free money, free land given to the Europeans coming to the States. So yes, if this was the regular economy, I'd be all over it. But cryptocurrencies, there's an agenda behind it. Programmable money, well, you're not even going to be able to save money anymore. They give you the money, you have 6 months to spend it, and poof, it's gone. And then also, guys, when we look at cryptocurrencies, We have cryptocurrencies down right now. Like I stated, the bear market is right around the corner. Why? Because of inflation. The Fed is going to start tapering their balance sheet. The only reason why cryptocurrencies and the stock market is at where it's at right now is because of the Fed. We understand that. Now we have Guggenheim Scott Minerd talking about the actual pullback. And guys, we already know it's going to be a pullback. This is all an illusion to get the fourth industrial revolution here. Do not lie to yourself, guys. Get your friends and family educated. Because remember, guys, I bring you the truth. Yes, the truth hurts, but what does it do? It sets you free. Set the mind free, guys. Y'all have a wonderful day.
So, I mean, look, there's a famous statement by Baron von Rothschild. When asked the secret of his great wealth, he said, "I sold early." Even though I think right now, for the next month or so, there's a lot of tailwinds, Julia, I wouldn't be surprised if we had a sudden setback. So, equity investors have really had a great 12-month performance since March of 2020. It might be time to take some chips off the table and see if there's a better entry point later in the year.
Is that what you're telling investors today?
Yes, and we've actually adjusted for that. We were at max risk, meaning all the things that we thought would go up in price, like stocks, high yield bonds, corporate bonds, ever since March the 23rd of last year. And it was just in the last week or so that we actually started to reduce the risk for the first time since the height of the pandemic crisis.
So now here's a question, because you and I have discussed in the past about crypto, and you made the comment about, and I'll be specific about Bitcoin, the relative scarcity, valuation compared to gold. And it was an eye-opener. It was a valuation of $400,000, which caught the attention of the crypto community, as I'm sure our viewers can imagine. In a scenario where we do see some kind of pullback, and risk event driven or not, what happens, do you think, to that space, given the enthusiasm that we see today?
Sure. I mean, it's interesting, Julia. When I made the $400,000 statement, I'm looking at it over a period of 10 to 20 years. Of course, the market took off. I first started looking at buying crypto at 10,000, or at Bitcoin at 10,000. Today, I don't know where we are anymore. It's become so rich so fast, maybe around 50,000. But it clearly has gotten caught up in the speculative bubble that GameStop got into, and a number of these other stocks. And so, I think when we get a risk-off moment, we could be seeing Bitcoin pull back to somewhere between $20,000 and $30,000. But I think for long-term investors, that'll be a great entry point.
Massive move we've had in Bitcoin over the short run. Things are very frothy, and I think we're going to have a major correction in Bitcoin. And I've said it before, I think we could pull back to 20 to 30,000 on Bitcoin, which would be a 50% decline.
You might recall back in November, Guggenheim disclosed in a regulatory filing that its Macro Opportunities Fund held the right to invest up to 10% of its net asset value in Grayscale Bitcoin Trust, GBTC.